All right, guys, welcome to another episode of the Neverland Podcast. Today, super dope guest on. First guest on YouTube, actually, so you could actually see him live in effect. But we got Brandon on, man. He's a videographer out of Chicago. Super dope videos. He's done stuff with Gold Haze, who's been on, obviously, on the show. He's done things with G Herbo, Lil Durk, whole bunch of people, man. But Brandon, thank you for being on, man.
Thank you for having me, man. Appreciate you. Nice talking with you.
Yeah, bro. So the first question I always ask my guests is, "What's your top five? Your top five artists of all time?"
Of all time. It's a good one. My number one of all time is probably Rob Banks. I think some of his older projects around like 2011 through 2013 are kind of like important for me. Lucky, Body High is probably one of my favorite tapes of all time. King Cruel slash Archie Marshall. Um, and then as of late, Larry June has been up there. Maybe like Wi-Fi's funeral. I'm not sure. The top three are solid, but after that, it kind of changes based on the day.
So are you like kind of you just listen to like a bunch of different things, or is it do you usually end up focusing on like a certain genre?
I would say a bunch of different things. I mean, for the longest time, I wasn't really even too into rap music. I listened to a lot of like metalcore bands, like Bring the Horizon and Issues and stuff like that.
Sure.
But like, fortunately, I have like a lot of like cool friends who brought a lot of different like I guess variety into my
Mhm.
life as far as like music
Yeah,
tastes and things like that. So.
that, yeah. So like for your videos and stuff, who are you inspired by for those, or is it, or like I think this is a question I kind of wanted to ask too. Is like, is the type of video you make or the type of video you direct, is it based on the artist, or is it like you have an idea and you're like, okay, this song fits it, and it just happens to be this artist?
Yeah, I guess one thing that we've learned is like music videos are just advertising. So at the end of the day, like whatever makes the most sense for that particular artist and how they want to convey their brand is what you have
Mhm.
to do. Like there's been plenty of times where it's ideas in mind that just didn't necessarily translate to being the most beneficial for them. And at the end of the day, like if they're hiring you or collaborating with you, you know what I'm saying, they're trusting you with themselves and like a big piece of their life. So you may have other ideas, but you kind of got to deliver on what's best for them. But
Mhm.
fortunately, I mean, we get to work with like a lot of open-minded artists who,
Mhm.
like the collaborations feel genuine, and it's good on both sides.
Yeah. What's probably like the best video that, or the best video idea you've had, and then when it came to fruition, you were like, oh yeah, no, this shit's ill.
I would have to say, this video I did with LA Van Gogh for Coffee Makes You Higher was like the first time. So I mean, not to say like I made a lot of, I guess, like quality videos, but I think that was the first time that I ever felt like I directed with any sort of intent and got to the point where like my vision didn't exceed my reach and I could actually make the things that I set out to make.
Mm.
So I remember getting like the final or finishing the final edit on that one and watching it back, and it was very fulfilling because for one, he's a great person and a great friend, great artist to work with. And
Mhm.
two, when it came out, it kind of was the first time it came out as I envisioned it. So that was good. That was a rewarding one, and still probably my favorite video to this day. It opened a lot of doors for sure.
Dang, yeah. What was one that you were like, I don't know if this is gonna bang, or like I don't know how it's gonna be when you're actually making it, but when it comes out, you're like, oh wait, yeah, no, I killed it. Oh,
Mm.
this one's crazy.
That one, I would say this video I did with Cupcake, maybe like 2, 3 ish years ago. It
Mhm.
was it was like the first time I directed like a bigger set. I think it was like 40-ish, 50 people. Um, I just gotten like this new like cinema camera, rented out a bunch of gear, had like a full crew working. So that was like the first step up from just doing like the videos where I'm just running around by myself with the camera. And yeah, I mean, I really didn't know what to expect with that one. Like I had, we had the idea, we thought it would go well, and fortunately it came out. I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah. So like going all the way back, how did you even get like first started in directing? When were you like, okay, let me pick up a camera, let me record some guy rapping or just singing or whatever, and I could actually be good at this.
Completely by chance, really. I went through a series of like getting kicked out of college and dropping out of college on
Mm.
multiple occasions. And one day I went to a just like a homie's little like studio up by Loyola,
Sure.
And then through a friend of a friend, they were kind of just in there making beats, rapping, doing whatever. And I've never really been musically inclined, but there was a camera with like a little like SD card in it. So
Mhm.
I like shot a little bit of their studio session, chopped it up into a recap, and dropped it the next day, I guess. And they really liked it. And I think that was like the first. Well, for one, that was the first time I'd used a digital camera, and that was maybe 4 or 5 years ago. But I think that kind of like opened the door as far as like that. Then after one of the dudes hit me, and we shot maybe like 3 or 4 music videos. Just kind of like he lived in the suburbs out near where I did, and it was cool. And then it was a good time. It was at least enjoyable, and it was like
Mhm.
for the first time something I felt like I could really try at.
Sure.
So I quit my job the next day, and we
Nice.
got an apartment in the city together, and then it was just hitting people up, and we made it happen. 5 years later, things are where they're at now.
Dang, that's sick. So, like, I think was it, like, the initial, like, "Dang, I just did it." Like, you didn't really even think about it, but, like, people enjoyed it. So you're like, "Fuck it. I guess I'm just good at this. Let's just keep going and keep trying."
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I wouldn't say I was good at it. Like the bar for things is just like it's a really low barrier to entry. So it
Mhm.
wasn't like I was doing anything spectacular, but I was like, you know, with the artists I was working with, it was easygoing. It was
Mhm.
convenient for them, quick turnaround time, and it was cheap. It was like $50 for a video. So, you know what I'm saying? It worked out. Over time, yeah, things got better, but by no means was I very good for
Mhm.
the first few years. But
Yeah,
shout out to everybody that worked with me anyway, in spite of that.
yeah. Dang. Dang, that's dope, bro. So, like, how did you decide to be like, "Okay, I already have this going on. I've already done things with smaller artists." How did you manage to, like, market yourself to be like, "Okay, let's go work with a G Herbo. Let's go work with a Lil Durk," and, like, all these, like, other big name artists?
For those, I would say, as far as working with big name artists, Cupcake is the only one that like I kind of built with from the ground up. Like when we first started working together, it was maybe like before she'd released one of her biggest songs that I kind of like put her on. So that was like the only one where like I like specifically kind of did anything. The others were just being in the right place at the right time.
Sure.
Um, the first G Herbo video was like 2-ish years ago, and it was just off like I got a random call to do it. I'd worked with my like business partner now, Laka.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah.
We'd worked on a trench mob video like a month before. It was cool. He was just looking for a DP, trying to expand, and
Mhm.
I guess he had to for the song Bon Appetit. It was with Herb, Key Glock, and Z Money. It was like a super last minute shoot. He called somebody, they weren't available, so he called me next,
Yeah,
and I pulled up in 20 minutes. We shot the video all day, and ever since that day, we've been working together in
dang.
a different capacity now. But
Mhm.
it's just being ready when your number's called. You don't really get a lot of opportunities to like get in. So
Yeah, yeah.
whenever they do come along, you kind of just gotta do
Yeah,
what you gotta
I've
do.
realized, like, just recording your the 56th episode, and so, like, from, like, literally all the previous guests, one thing that you guys almost all have in common is, like, it's almost like that "fuck it" attitude, where it's like you get an opportunity, it's something you wanna do, so you're like, "Fuck it, let's just do it," rather than, like, just delaying it and, like, kinda waiting on it, which I always find super, super dope,
But
but
yeah, I mean I feel like that's definitely anyone that has like achieved any like significant success probably would share that same like sentiment. Like when the opportunity is there, they kind of took
Mhm.
it in spite of everything that was going on. I mean, it was true then. Like I was like dating this girl, we just got into like I
Mhm.
was like heartbroken over this breakup, and it's just like time doesn't stop for anybody, so you just got
Yeah.
to do it. Even now, I think in spite of everything that's going on, like you still got to find ways to like make moves and be productive even from quarantine. And that's fortunately like with two of us working together, is something we've been able to do. So.
Dope, dope, bro, yeah, yeah. So, like, now, like, looking into the future, what are some of your goals? Like, what's something that you wanna do? Obviously, like, you've already directed and stuff. Do you wanna go into, like, a kind of a different side of being behind the camera, or is there anything else that you're trying to do?
Yeah, for sure. So Laka and I, we recently launched a company called No More Heroes, I believe, like
Yeah.
April 1st. So that is, it's a production company, but I guess just like a media and entertainment brand. So
Mhm.
we don't really direct much anymore. We actually have a couple directors like signed to our team who direct the projects. And then he and I just take care of things on the business end.
Mhm.
Every once in a while we'll hop on to a project. Like I just directed a video for another Her video for, I believe, a song that's going on his deluxe album, and Locke just directed a project for 2K Baby. So like we'll hop back in from time to time, but I think he and I are best suited towards running the business and building a brand, and ultimately that's kind of like where our interests and skills lie.
Yeah.
We made it work, but I don't think either of us are necessarily like creative in that sense of like creative, like artistic visionaries. But we do um, have like the creativity to like make things happen as far as making this brand come to life. So that's something we're excited about.
Facts. So when was it that you decided that like, okay, we've done this so far, let's just go on to the business side and like hire people to do the actual creative side?
A while ago, it was probably like, I mean, we were always hiring people, whether it's to do one thing or another,
Mhm.
social media people, interns, crew member, whatever. But as far as like turning it into a business, I would say anywhere from 6 to 12 months ago. We kind of knew that like with the like Lauka Films thing, it just had plateaued. It just felt like it was one person. It didn't feel like a brand, and it didn't really feel like anything that like the average person could get behind or like support. You know what I'm saying? Like he got a movement, like no doubt there was like support there, but it was hard to identify with because it felt like one person.
True.
So that was like something we knew we needed to do, and we spent months like just deciding like what we wanted the brand to
Mhm.
be, the name, the vision, like what type of content we wanted to create, and then over the last maybe 4 months is when everything got put together.
Dang, dang. Okay, dang. So like I guess like before these 4 months, during all that time when you're like just thinking of like ideas and things like that, what were like the biggest things that you wanted to know? Or like your biggest, I guess, your what did you guys wanted to emphasize within your brand?
I mean, I think the biggest thing we wanted to do was just be like a relevant part of like what's going on. Like we were like a part of it as individuals, but not necessarily a part of like the people that are shifting the culture and like making things happen. You know what I'm saying? Like we were working with these artists, but we weren't necessarily contributing in the way of like making things happen and creating things for other people. So I think with this brand, that's one thing we've been able to do now. The focus like this past 2 months has just been on the production company side, shooting all these videos for labels. But over the next year, so we just have a lot planned in the way of just creating content and creating things that people can be a part of.
True, true. Dang, yeah. So like kind of going back to like actually making videos and stuff and like getting things from artists. When is it you decide that like okay, like again, is it like again based on the artists themselves where they're like, okay, we just want hella cars, hella girls, hella jewelry, hella money. Whereas another part could be like, okay, for this song we want a story. So like how does that come about?
Um, I guess part of it's on the artist, part of it's on us. It can like, I guess you usually kind of catch a vibe on like whether the artist is just trying to like do something in the way like of more creativity. Most artists are really receptive to it. I think it's just on like the directors to not be lazy and do like what's been done before, and
Mhm.
that's something that like he and I, like not he and I, but myself or anyone has to like be cognizant of. Is just not getting complacent, because
True.
once you get to a certain point where you're not making bad videos, you can kind of just settle into a habit of doing like the minimum where it's clean, but it's not anything profound. And
Mhm.
that's just like a good way to get stuck and be stagnant.
Yeah.
So I guess over the last couple videos that I was doing, I was just being more selective about it, like only working with artists that who's for one the songs I liked um, allowed me to like come up with ideas, and two like that were willing to try ideas because it's like if you don't swing for the fences, you're kind of just gonna
Mhm.
stay stuck.
Yeah.
And that's in terms of trying different creative videos or reaching out to artists that you would never otherwise be able to obtain. So
Facts. Yeah. It's almost like you don't want to be just have a template, right? You want to just kind of switch things up a little bit.
yeah, and like you do it over time, and you're going to develop a system, and it'll kind of come down to a formula. But I think one thing that like I've always kind of about it by is like do things that are going to like push the needle and like actually, what I'm saying, make something happen for you. Like you strike out a lot for sure, but I guess we just prefer to swing for a lot of home run plays instead of just falling back on like the basics and just that super slow grind.
Yeah. Yeah. True. Dang. Yeah. True. Dang. What's been like the best moment you've had while recording a video?
Mhm. Like while like actually during filming.
Yeah, yeah, like during filming.
Mm, trying to see. I can't really think of the filming part. It's just kind of work. Like
Yep.
there's been like certain sets we enjoy, but like
Mhm.
overall, it's just they kind of all feel the same. I think in the moment you kind of just focus in and like do what you got to do. And
Mhm.
there's not necessarily any like filming experience that kind of actually, that's a lie. The one thing I will say that I that really enjoyed, I filmed a documentary at my old high school.
Mhm.
It's in Yorkville, Illinois. It's like a town that's just super big on community and like caring about the people in it and supporting everyone there. And over maybe 11 days, so like 7 Fridays of football games, a couple days of practices and things here and there. Like that was definitely like an experience I'll always remember. Like I'm a huge like high school and college football person as it is, so just getting to be out there with them every night and just seeing all the work they put in and like it's electric. Like out on the field with them, so
Mhm.
that was amazing. And yeah, I'll definitely keep that one with me.
Damn, damn. Dang, that's lit. So, like, when it comes to, like, those things like that, you usually just end up appreciating it after it's done? Where you're like, "Oh, shit, I made it." Made, like, that particular piece of art.
Partially, yeah. It was like a super long project as far as like getting everything filmed and getting everything edited. So I ended up just kind of having to set some hard deadlines, and it was like a rewarding feeling to just like sometimes I guess the reward is getting the work itself done, and
Yeah.
it was one of those moments where it was like we did it, and it felt like we all did it together.
Mhm.
But everything about that was enjoyable from start to finish. Like
Yeah.
there was not a second of like being with that team and being with them that I didn't love.
Mm, damn. Yeah, yeah. Because 'Cause I'm sure, like, while the editing process, you're like, "Alright, bro, I'm done with this shit." Just export it. I'm done with it.
Yeah, I think this is I was like living in LA at the time and I spent like 2 weeks straight just locked in my room, like not probably working like 16 hours a day on editing. It was
Damn.
week one was doing the trailer and then week two was the film itself. And it was like the first time I'd ever tried it and I wouldn't say I underestimated what all goes into it, but I just was not ready. But
Mhm.
either way, we got it done. Um had a little bit of help. Shout out to Chris Vergara. He put in work on the trailer edit. So
True, true.
it was a team effort, as everything is with that. So.
Yeah, yeah. Is that the longest project you've worked on, or
For sure. Yeah, it took like a year of filming, and then a year of filming, but only 11 actual days of being there, and
Mhm.
then like maybe 100 hours of editing or more. So it was a lot.
Yeah, that's crazy. Are you trying to make more documentaries or, like, movies or anything like that, or
Yeah, for sure. I don't know in what capacity necessarily, but I think with this new brand, No More Heroes, one thing we wanted to do is put a big emphasis on original content because that's the only thing you can control. When you're shooting music videos, like the label can just say no, you can't release it, or
Mm,
they can put the song on hold, or you can like get into wars over who gets to claim the money from it, and it's just like a whole headache.
yeah,
Versus like when you produce things yourself, for one, you typically are going to introduce things that haven't been seen as often, and two, you just get full creative control, and that's
mhm,
great. Like I guess the first step into that, we just released a freestyle with G Herbo, which is the start of a
yeah,
freestyle series that we're doing, and like the reception to it was like amazing. I think it did like 2 million views in the first 2 weeks. It was like
shout out Gold
trending.
Haze, I know he produced that too.
You
Like,
said yeah, Gold Haze and Treasy produced that. It was just like that was kind of I guess like us knowing that we were going in the right direction with that. But yeah, we'll be putting together some mini docs, some short form stuff, a lot. We're just putting the team together right now to get it all done.
yeah. So even when it comes with that, how important is your team? Like, how important is finding the right pieces, and, like, how long does it take to find that right piece?
Finding a team is literally everything. I think Locke and I spend 90% of our time looking for people that are a good fit. It's just like without that, like you can't do anything. Like Locke and I trust each other with our lives. You know what I'm saying? So like, there's never like a day like where we can't count on each other to do one thing or another. And with the people that we've been adding to our team as of late, like they are literally everything for us. We have like even on shoots, I guess people that aren't necessarily like contractually obligated to be with us. We have like our main crew in Chicago that just we can count on to get anything done. We depend on them. We can call them, an hour with an hour notice for a shoot, and they will be there ready to go and deliver every time. So it's like having people you can count on is everything, especially in like this business where most people are kind of only looking out for their own best
Mhm.
interests.
Yeah, dang. So like, how long does that hiring process take too?
I would say the hiring process itself doesn't take long. It's like
Or like the finding?
like the scouting talent process is
Yeah.
the part you got, because you gotta, I guess, check like a lot of boxes. Like for one, they have to be good at what they do. Their situation kind of has to match yours, and then you have to get along on a personal level because otherwise you just can't work together. Especially with our team, like we take a ton of trips together, and when it's 7, 8 of us in this house, like everybody has to be able to get along
Yeah.
and just coexist.
Dang.
And I think that's one thing we've been like blessed to have is like a lot of people that would just do anything for each other and all want the best.
True. True. How many times do you actually have to do that though? Do that though? Like, is it mostly just like the same group of guys that you roll with, or?
I mean, we have like, I guess we're always doing it, because we're always looking to expand. Like when we started off, it was just finding like crew members for production. That was one thing, but then once we got that taken care of, now it was like, what are we gonna do for like these label videos? And then we went out and found directors who just wanted to be creatives and not worry about so much the business stuff. And
Right.
then as we expand into more things, whether it's merch, shows, events, like we're always going to be looking for new people,
Mhm.
just because there's a limitless amount of things we can do, and
Mhm.
we'd be selling ourselves short to not try and get them all done.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Dang. Yeah. You kind of touched on it previously too, but like with labels, how annoying is it?
Uh, it's not really that annoying. It's not that bad. Like it can be a little bit of a hassle, and it's like I guess like a constant like networking thing, just trying to reach out, a lot of like asking for not like I guess not necessarily favors, but just asking for opportunities.
Right.
But once you lock in with the label, you're kind of good. Like so long as you deliver on time and a quality project, I think
Mhm.
they're pretty open to coming back to you. And I mean, at least in my experience, they're pretty receptive to people. Like there was when we lived in LA, I think we set up like 20 meetings a week, and they were all pretty genuine, really down to earth. It
True.
only ever can turn into a bit of a hassle when it comes to like time to upload, like
Mhm.
the actual release of the content.
Yeah.
But aside from that, I would say labels are typically not difficult to
Mhm.
navigate.
Yeah. Like from your end, you don't have to really worry about like contracts or anything like that, do you?
No, no, I mean we definitely have to worry about contracts. But I guess what I mean in terms of like not difficult to navigate is like they don't like I guess they're receptive to new people coming in. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mhm.
we've only been doing the label projects for like a year and a half,
True.
2 years, and then but they've been open to it. Like they're always willing to give you opportunities or sink or swim, so long as you can prove that you can get the work done.
Facts.
So the opportunities have been coming in since we've got a couple under our belt.
True. Dang. Dang. Yeah. So for like someone trying to get good at directing, what advice would you give them? Would it literally be just take your camera and start shooting?
No, I think the first, well, yeah, like you're gonna have to have experience to like do it, but I think the first, it just starts with having good taste. Like you're just naturally inclined to emulate the things you see and take in. So if you start off with good taste, you're gonna attempt to make those things, and for the first couple of years, like of course you're gonna fall short because you don't have like the skill or experience, but
Mhm.
you'll always be in the right direction. Versus if you watch trash videos, like and set that bar low, you're gonna be beneath that.
Mhm.
But as far as like advice, I would say just find like you only need 3, 4, 5 videos that show quality. You know what I'm saying? That show what you can do to really get those opportunities. Like when we're looking for directors, we don't need 100 videos. We need 3 that are good and show that you know what you're doing and can make like a really good piece of work.
Yeah.
So the best thing to do is just lock in with a creative who like, or I guess an artist who you know you both trust each other. They give you room to operate and come up with good ideas. Like if you can go out there and execute on a few projects, even if it's for like no money or whatever, even if it's for someone no one's ever heard of, like
Facts.
that's enough to get your foot in the door.
Facts. Dang. Yeah. Mm. That's tight. That's tight. Yeah. Yeah. So, well, oh wait, one thing I forgot to ask earlier, but obviously quarantine's going on. So, what's one thing that's been keeping you busy that isn't work?
Hmm. Really nothing. I mean, we have kind of just been focused on work. Like, it's a new company, so there's
Right,
like a
right.
million and one things to take care of. So I don't think we've really taken a break from work. Like, obviously, we can't be shooting because that's like a health risk, of course.
Mhm.
But as far as like getting things taken care of, like legally, financially, looking for new team members, pitching different partnership ideas to whomever. Like, there's always something to do.
Yeah,
So we haven't really taken a break from work at all.
true, true.
Like,
Dang.
even in the
So,
slightest.
so I
If
guess even
anything,
touching on that for a bit, how hard is it to start up a new company altogether? Like the
um,
many like moving parts and things like that.
I mean, realistically, it's not difficult to start. Like, you just do it. I mean, it's
Right.
difficult to like make it good and get everything like running well. But I just that's not something we worried about. Like, we just started the company. We figured out the logo after the fact. We figured out everything after the fact. It's just you can't get stuck on making everything perfect beforehand. Uh,
Right.
I think you just start, you do the best you can with it, you give yourself room to grow, and eventually it takes on, a life of its own.
Right. It's
So, I
almost
mean,
like you're literally just kind of building it up daily. One of those things, right?
yeah, for sure. I mean, we've had some experience building companies before, but nothing to this scale. So it's a new experience for everyone involved, but you just figure it out. And, the best way to figure out is experience.
True, true. Dang, dang, yeah. So you said that you're kind of trying to build up more original content, things like that. Is it something that you would eventually want to see on like Netflix, or is it like you just kind of want to put it up on like YouTube, or is it kind of like a mix of both?
Whatever makes sense. I
Okay.
don't think we're I don't think we'll ever like close any doors or like say no to anything before we've explored it. It's just whatever makes sense. And right now, given like the YouTube platform we already have, it makes the most sense to release the content there because it's something we've already built a following and have a foundation in. But if a Netflix thing or any sort of partnership came along that made sense and was a good opportunity for everyone, we would definitely take it.
True. Yeah. Dang.
It's just, I think we've got ideas, but we don't have any clue of like where things could really go. So we're just kind of keeping our options open.
Dang. True. So, like, in the near future, what's like some of the things that you want to do real quick? Kind of like, not real quick, but like things that you want to kind of, I guess, accomplish in a shorter period of time. Whether that be like music videos or have some type of original content out.
Hmm. Let's see. I mean, we've got a lot of plans to do different things. So as far as goals, the one thing I would say is we want to like bring to life everything that we said we would do. So I think, like I said, we like had a really big picture plan for everything, and I think just following through on everything we set out to is the number one goal. Like, I won't get super into specifics as far as like what all those are,
Yeah.
but we just I think we'd be selling ourselves short to only do music videos, and we can expand into all these areas and just do different things and be a relevant part of the culture of like music and entertainment. So
Facts.
I think that's number one for us. We just want to make something that matters to people and gives other people a platform to do something as well.
Hmm. Dang, that's tight. That's tight. Yeah. So I guess your main goal right now is just like it's kind of my goal with this is literally just creating that impact first, and then just seeing wherever that takes you. Right.
Yeah, like, right now everything is just consistency. Like, we got off to like a good start, like a couple of these videos, a couple of these projects, but it doesn't mean nothing. It doesn't mean anything if we don't keep it up over the remainder of the year and following years. So right now, that's all it is. Is just continuing to build on the foundation we've got so far, doing things better, and just learning how we can be better. Like I
Mhm.
said, it's a new experience for Block and I in a lot of ways. So right now, we're just figuring out how we can be, like better to our crew, better to the labels, just I think we just want to have a positive impact and be looked
Mhm.
at in a like favorable way.
Yeah, that's fire. Yeah, that's tight. So like, kind of who's one or not one? Let's say 5 people that you want to work with.
Hmm. I don't, I don't know. I mean, we've worked with most of the people we've like wanted to work with
True.
um, already,
Right.
but no one in particular. I mean, realistically, we want to work with people who want to work with us
Mm,
and genuinely like believe and appreciate what we're doing.
true.
Like, it doesn't really matter like who the artist is if they don't, like respect like
Mm,
the time we put into it or like what we built. So it just comes down to like whomever it is that like has a genuine like mutual respect for us. Like I think those are the people we want to work with. It's not their name like whatever. Like it doesn't really matter. So we're open to anyone.
mm,
Anyone that makes sense and checks that box.
dang, true. So like, who's like maybe like the top 5 people that you have worked with? Then?
As far as like top five in terms of like name recognition or top five
No,
like
top 5 in
pleasant
like your
experiences.
kind of like or like top 5, I guess, most enjoying moments or something like that. I don't know, something like that.
Let me see. Let me look it up. I gotta look through our video real quick. Let's see. Um, top five people. My bad. I'm Google searching this right now to get our website. Well, I mean, I guess for one, like we're very grateful to G Herbo and his team with Machine Entertainment. Like they've given us so many opportunities just over the past 2 years, and so that's one for sure. They've been great to us and just done a lot for us. So we appreciate that.
Mhm.
Um, we toured. I toured with Juice World for a month, and that was one of the best times of my life. He is one of the most talented people to ever just exist, and like watching him every night was a gift. Like him and Ski, and everyone on that tour was just super receptive. So Juice, Ski Mask, DJ Scheme, Danny Towers, like Leroy was there. Everyone was just very genuine and receptive, and it was cool. It was like nice to like go out there and feel welcome. So
Right.
everyone that put that together was great. Let me see. I would say Clever. Clever is one of the most pleasant people we've gotten to work with. He's a super down to earth guy, like really genuine, humble, talented, and just a great guy to work with.
Mhm.
Every time we shot with him, it was a really nice experience.
True, true.
Um, Let me see who else. Um, Annalie Chapa, that was a fun one. He's
Yeah,
insane, but in the best way. Like his energy is just unmatched.
yeah.
Um, and then he was also one of those people that like is like real cool. Like treats you like a friend. Like we stayed at his mom's house for like 5 days when we went to go to Memphis, and like anytime I run into him now, he's you know always saying what's up, always being friendly, and that's like those are the type of things that you appreciate. And then I think the last one would be Lil Nar. We
Mhm.
shot with him. The video never came out, unfortunately, but he was great. He was just so kind. Like he
Mhm.
was nice to the crew members, nice to the models that were there. And I just like don't have like there's so many positive things I could say about him and that experience. But he was just like a very kind person and made everyone on set feel comfortable and welcomed and appreciated. And those are the things that you remember for forever.
Right,
So I
right.
guess that'd be my five right there.
Yeah, right. Dang. So also like so on set, or I guess it kind of probably varies set to set, but like, what's kind of some of the things that you need to have in order for you to like kind of feel comfortable? Be like, okay, this is good now.
Like me personally.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I'm cool with whatever. Like the sets that we've been on, I mean, have been anything from like $40,000 like film productions to just showing up to like somewhere in the hood. Like we're fine. I think that's the one like the two. I guess the best thing about Lock and Eyes partners is we just have the same like whatever it takes to get it done mentality, and I mean we got each other's back, so we'll go everywhere. I mean, I don't really ever show up to set and feel uncomfortable because that's what you practice. Like
Right.
you've done it every day for 5 years. Like it's nothing. It's nothing new. It's just a
Mhm.
different work environment.
So it's literally just like as long as you have a camera, you got mics, location doesn't really matter, people don't really matter. It's just go, go, go. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, like all those things definitely matter in terms of like making things better, but like we don't, need a ton to get it done. It's just, we'll make it work with what we have. We always do.
Yeah. Dang. So, all right, guys, that was the 56th episode of the Neverland Podcast. Brandon, thank you for being on again. It was super, super dope.
Thank you so much
Um,
for having me, man. I appreciate it. It was a really great experience, and it's great
hell yeah,
talking to you.
hell yeah. Yeah, as always, his socials, everything's gonna be linked in the bio. Go check him out. My socials on the bio. Like, comment, share, all that good stuff. Uh, yeah, HRM210, Twitter, Instagram, and yeah, catch up on any episodes you may have missed. And with that, we out here. Peace.